Well, now we can speak to Stephen Vines, who's a journalist and author of Hong Kong, China's New Colony. He's also in Hong Kong and is joining us live now. Stephen, thank you very much indeed for joining us. We are almost drowning, aren't we, in this a torrent of statistics. I'm wondering how much confidence, how much faith do you have in the transparency, in the reporting of the numbers by the Chinese authorities?
Well, I mean, as we just heard from Adrian Brown, there is definitely scepticism over these figures. When the criteria for reporting the figures was changed on Thursday, the number of cases rose ninefold. That's an enormous rise in the number of cases. There is an enormous question around the credibility of these figures. Also, there's a question around the number of people who have died because they've been told to leave hospitals, even people with quite critical diseases, to make way for these coronavirus patients. So, I mean, are they part of the same set of statistics? Are they something else? The fact of the matter is there's a lot more people dying than are reflected in the figures that we've seen from the Chinese authorities.
And yet that element of scepticism that you've just outlined, that seems to be completely absent in the WHO, for instance. The WHO has distinguished itself in a way by pouring praise and lauding the efforts being taken by the Chinese authorities.
I have to say, this is a cause of some considerable mystery. The director of the WHO seems to miss no opportunity when he makes public statements to laud the Chinese authorities for their competence and skill in handling this matter. There is now a call for his resignation. There's a big petition circulating around about that. And there is a feeling, I think, growing that the WHO is not on top of this job because it's paying too much concern to politics rather than the strict medical requirements, which, after all, is what it's supposed to be doing.
Indeed. Another example, of course, that I'd like you to think about is that cruise ship that was allowed to dock in Cambodia after being turned away by, was it 4 or 5 different ports in the Asian region. But it seemed very much as though Hun Sen, the Prime Minister, was actually wanting politically to show support for the Chinese authorities rather than acting upon what may have been the best interests of his own people.
Well, again, this is something that has certainly been said in Cambodia itself. Cambodia is extremely close to China, very heavily reliant on China for investment. And there is always a suspicion, particularly in international fora, where Cambodia, or Kampuchea as is now known, or I never know what it's called these days, is #1 ally, can always be relied upon to support the Chinese point of view. What's very interesting, though, is that China's closest ally, North Korea, immediately shut its borders to Chinese visitors once news of this virus became known. So the politics here are devilishly complicated.
And I suppose you've raised North Korea. I reckon that if there were to be any kind of evidence of this coronavirus having entered North Korea, A, we wouldn't get any information about it, and B, it would be devastating given the infrastructure, the health system being in such a poor state.
Well, this is the problem with one-party states who make it their business to control information. And obviously, the situation in North Korea is it's really difficult to get information out of North Korea, very difficult for citizens within North Korea to know what's going on. And in China itself, they've been tightening the screws again on the internet, having allowed a small window where there was quite a lot of criticism, I'd actually say a big volume of criticism of the local authorities in Hubei province. So, you know, this makes a health crisis also into a political crisis.
Stephen Vines talking to us live from Hong Kong. Thank you very much.